Hey everyone, I am here calling live from Spain. I just got here today. I was in Bratislava back at home this week and had a fantastic masterclass with some beautiful singers from all over Europe. So that was really like a fantastic week, and we did a lot of really great work. But I wanted to come on here because I felt like something was coming up a lot over the week about kind of a philosophy of singing and learning to sing, or not even learning to sing, but just practicing the art of singing in general. And it can become a block for a lot of people. So, hey guys, I'm seeing some greetings. I haven't done a live in a while, so I forget how it works. But hi. Anyways, so something that I think is really important is the acceptance of the nature of our instrument. And this can get very confusing because when we're either trying to perfect our vocal technique or learning how to sing in the beginning, but even can happen mid-career for sure, because we're getting so many opinions about what our sound should be like, or, I really don't like this, I think you should do it like this. And so we start to take it on as our vocal identity. And one of the discussions that we had as a group this week was how there are elements of our sound when it's correct, right, that may not be everybody's cup of tea, right? It may be that when your voice is functioning at its optimum, that people aren't going to like it. Not everybody, obviously, but there will be some people that don't like your voice when it is functioning optimally. And how to kind of cut through the noise of what is my voice, what is not functioning in my voice, and what is just, something an element to my voice that somebody doesn't like. So what's changeable versus what shouldn't be changeable. And the difference is kind of like if you look at your hair, right? Some people are born with curly hair, some are born with straight hair, some are wavy, some are like half and half like mine, right? Or you're born with a certain hair color. Of course you can change it, okay? Hair color, it's a little different. But there are elements to that are just the nature of your hair, right? So you have this certain type of hair. And sometimes the nature changes because, hormones, and same with our voices, right? Hormones, age, time, whatever, things change, but still it is the nature of our hair or our voices. And that doesn't change, right? Now, we as singers may not prefer the nature of our voice, right? Somebody may really want to be a tenor, but they're a bass baritone. Somebody may want to be a mezzo, but they're a coloratura soprano. This happens often, right? So I think that, beyond voice type, there are also elements in the voice that we think wrongly, and I'm saying this like meaning to the top professionals all the way down to beginners. We sometimes mistake elements in our voice that we think we can change, without consequences, and versus, okay, that's a functional problem. And so I kind of want to come on here and just talk about what are some of those tests that we know could be a functional problem versus that is the nature of our voice that maybe we don't like, or somebody else just didn't like it, right? So I think for me, the baseline about what is our actual voice is if our instrument is functioning with a full range. Now, how do we know what's our full range? That question can get kind of tricky, but I think we can know if we're hitting blocks on that front or not. And so when we talk about full range, right, if we're not having access to that can be oftentimes tongue depression, laryngeal depression, or laryngeal elevation. There's all sorts of different things that can play into that, right? So knowing where that baseline is for you, where you're not padding the sound to kind of block the range of the voice. So when you have the full range of the voice, do you have capacity? Like, do you have the ability to sing faster, slower, softer, louder? Is there, and that's different for everyone. Obviously, high coloratures are going to have a different facility from low basses, but there's still, within that instrument, there is flexibility in terms of tempi, dynamics, and the freedom to do musical writings, right? And so you have to kind of know this as a singer. You have to feel it in your throat. I always use this metaphor. It's like tying your shoes, okay? You can learn the way to tie your shoes, but everybody has a slight different grip, right? Maybe they grip the lace a little higher, or maybe they make two bows and then tie it, or maybe they wrap it around and tie it. It comes out to the same thing, right? But you have to feel. Somebody else can't say to you, grip it exactly here and then do this. That would cause a block, right? So you have to develop that ability in and of yourself to know that what you're doing is going to be sustainable and that you feel good about how you're singing. And that doesn't mean that we can't improve upon things, okay? If we listen to our voice and we say, I really wish that I had a little bit more squealo in the top or whatever it is that we want, right? It doesn't mean that we can't try to work on that element. We can't try to bring that into a little bit more balance from our perspective. But it means that the nature of the instrument may be different, and so we can only take it so far. Right? Like Joan Sutherland and Maria Callas, no matter how great each one is, they are never going to sound like the other. And that's a great thing. We're very thankful that we have many different voices and many different sounds. And if you go on a little tour of YouTube, you can see very clearly that there are definite fans of Callas and definite not fans of Callas. So this is not about who is, of course, the opera world wants to make it who was the best, but what is the best? Okay, can you sing the notes on the page and the tempi that's written with some musical line? If you got that down, right, with some musical sensibility, then what's the best becomes very subjective. That becomes very subjective. And it's different also, keep in mind, it's different when you're recording yourself or when you're singing live, right? So what somebody says to you that, maybe you should do this, or maybe you should do that, or, the voice would sound better if it was like this. You can try it if you want. You can absolutely try it. But if it feels like it's not the nature of your instrument, like you're almost pushing against your body in a sense. Now, and I don't mean like actual pushing, because hopefully we're not doing that. But if it feels like that doesn't fit, even if it's getting good feedback, that's probably a cue to your body that that's not maybe the nature of the instrument. Because as you know, we are capable of making a myriad of sounds with our larynx. We can impersonate people, right? We can sing in different styles. We have a big range of muscular action that can make different sounds. But when we're talking about classical singing, that line gets a lot thinner. And we do have certain demands, certain acoustical thumbprints, acoustical expectations that need to be met. We have to cut over an orchestra. We have to be able to, have a in-line voice from top to bottom, these type of things, right? So there's a lot less wiggle room in terms of what we can do with our sound when we're talking about classical operatic singing. And within that context, we have to know that we might be able to make the most beautiful pianissimo tone in a certain way. And we can do that. But if that's blocking other elements, and if by doing that we're compromising the instrument in other ways, we really have to be careful that we are not taking ourselves on a detour where we shouldn't be going vocally. And so that's kind of this idea of really staying true to yourself and also being honest to yourself, right? About what is the nature of my instrument. Can I see if that nature can be expanded upon? I would never say changed, because it can't be changed. But can it be expanded upon? And how far can I go with that expansion so I don't bring myself out of balance? So these are, this is a longer conversation when we get into nitty-gritty technical ideas that support this. But in general, this is a consideration that you always want to have whenever you're working by yourself, as you're exploring the different ranges and capacities of your instrument. You need to know that you keep in line with this checklist, that you don't defy the nature of your instrument, because you will lose things. And even if you really, really, really want to do something a certain way, and maybe you can even sustain a role in a certain way, or maybe an aria in a certain way, and you get positive feedback from outside, and you're happy with the sound and you record it, but you think, gosh, if I had to do that again, it's gonna cause some problems. And when you watch, many careers are destroyed by this. You start adding, you start changing, and it's not about, we can talk about pushing. Of course, we know that's not a good idea. We can talk about this, that, and the other thing. But I also think that this is more a question of, do we deviate away from what our instrument wants to do? And no matter how much a bassoon wants to be a flute, a bassoon won't be a flute. And so we have, there's a unique color spectrum to each person's voice. So as you go forth and kind of play around in your own either practice or performance, and you are trying to, get better and better each day. It's like we're athletes. So we're either getting better or we're going back, right? So we're all trying to get better. And in that process, that we make sure that we're always getting better within the nature of our instruments, and that we're not forcing a solution to a problem that's really not in our best interest. So I hope that I get some feedback from you guys about what your thoughts are on that. I'd love to hear personal statements or thoughts or additions to that. And you can put that in the comments, or you can send me a private message. Have a great night, and I might try to join live from Spain again, and I will see you all soon. I'm going to figure out how to shut this off. I think it's the X. We're going to figure it out.